Hold on tight, spider monkey.
As if you could outrun me!
It's more than some crush, Bella.
How? I don't even know what you're saying. How?
I'm gonna help you enjoy this moment.
All right.
I love Jacob.
Jacob wasn't even in that.
He was in there.
Where?
He says it's more than just some crush, Bella.
Oh.
It doesn't really sound like him, but it is.
Heart.
Okay.
Welcome
to my Twilight Fantasy podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, we're back for chapter 17. And
The game.
And you got Anna.
T. Druzy, also known as Tyree.
And Maya.
And we're back in our normal recording location, which is my apartment. So I again have to apologize for my shrieking dog coming from the other room.
Bodhi is our king. And we stand.
And there he is.
Kangaroo Bodhi.
Kangaroo Bodhi?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're back. Welcome back. Thanks for listening. And, how was your guys' week?
Do we really want to go into that?
I mean, I was just trying to be nice.
I really don't want to know. I was just asking out of courtesy.
Yeah.
I don't think I cried this week.
I cried over stupid stuff. Like TV shows.
Anime.
Yeah. I mean, you could not say it like that.
But is it true?
Yeah. It was all just yesterday.
Yikes. Okay. Let's just talk about Twilight.
Gets me on my rant.
So, Maya, you actually have the overview for today.
I do.
Do you want to jump into that?
Yeah, I had a super busy week, but instead of doing anything that I was supposed to, I read Twilight. I read it closely. I read it slowly. I really indulged in it. So I feel like I actually have good notes for the first time in a long time. So
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I have the overview. The chapter starts with Edward taking Bella home from meeting his family. Which was kind of like the primary focus of like the last chapter and a little bit of the chapter before that, I think. And so when they get to Bella's house, they find that Jacob and Billy Black are like waiting for someone to get home. They're like kind of pulling up at the same time or something. And and they're driving Bella's truck. So Edward's kind of like trying to hide himself, but we're pretty sure that Billy sees him. And so, but Edward tries to like escape kind of silently, and Bella goes up to the Blacks and like lets them in and into the house, and she says that her dad's not going to be back for a while, and she kind of lies a little bit, which I think is weird. I forget where he's supposed to be this day, but she's really trying to get rid of them. And
Charlie?
Yeah.
He's out fishing.
He's actually out fishing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because at one point it says that she's like lying, and
she lied about where he was at.
Yeah.
Why?
He wasn't at the normal spot because she doesn't want Billy to go there and tell Charlie what's going on. I think that's her train of thought.
What is he going to say? Like, oh, he's a vampire. I'm like, no.
Right.
He's not going to say that.
Charlie would like hit him over
Daughter's
the
getting
head.
boned by a bloodsucker.
Ew.
Your daughter's getting digged down right now.
Well, the funny thing is, he's like, there's no dicking down happening whatsoever, but I feel like that would be what Charlie would be upset about, not like this supernatural element that he never gets to understand throughout the whole series. But anyway, moving on. Sorry. She says that her dad's out there, but Billy like kind of confronts her and says like, you know, I know what's going on. I see that you're spending a lot of time with one of the Cullen boys, and Bella is extremely rude to him and like pushes back and says like, you're not going to tell Charlie. Like, I'm not going to tell Charlie about that. Like, this is my business. Leave it up to me. And Billy is really nice and understanding to her. I feel like way more than he needs to be. Mm-hmm. And he really just seems like he's looking out for her best interest, but obviously he's really skeptical of any vampires given, like, the history of the werewolf vampire, like, not getting along thing. And then they leave this whole time Jacob has, like, no dialogue, but he, like, gets sent out to the car and comes back, which I think is funny, and they just leave without ever having an interaction. And then Jessica calls Bella immediately after that, and they talk about nonsense, like, Jessica had a date with, what's his face, the dog guy?
The dog?
Mike,
the golden retriever.
Yeah, and Jessica's like, oh, he kissed me, and then waits for Bella to be super excited, but she isn't. She doesn't give a fuck. And then they end that phone call, like, just as Charlie's walking in the door. So then Bella, like, suddenly springs on him that she's kind of dating Edward and that he'll be by soon to come pick her up for a date, and, like, they're gonna formally meet. And Charlie's like, didn't you literally say yesterday that you're not interested in any of the boys in town? And she says something really snarky. And then, yeah, the classic line, Edward doesn't live in town, Dad, or whatever. And then Edward comes in and meets him, and that goes fine. But I felt like on page 359, sorry, flipping.
Mm-hmm.
There's, like, a little bit of foreshadowing as Charlie's like, oh, like, be safe, like, get her back in one piece, blah, blah, blah. And Edward's like, oh, don't worry, he'll be safe with me. She'll be safe with me. And then, like, something horrible happens, you know? But anyway, so that happens, and then...
Can I pause for a second?
Yeah.
I just, again, want to say, I think this entire series should be remade where you play Edward.
Okay. Yeah, it could be both.
And
the
just
main character.
how you interpret all these lines.
Well, thanks, I think. So then Edward and Bella leave, and they take Emmett's Jeep to go, like, as far as they can into the woods, and then they have to, like, vampire run a little bit further, so they're really secluded in the woods.
Vampire flap.
Vampire plapping all the way, and they start to play baseball. Bella's super mesmerized by this whole scene, like, highlights the special vampire powers of, like, super strength, super fast running, all that stuff, and she is just, like, again mesmerized by, like, how wonderful and interesting vampires are. And Edward has a little bit of a mood swing, kind of. We can discuss that. I didn't write down a page number, but we can definitely discuss that. And then we also get more of Esme's backstory, which I think is really interesting. It's, like, characterization we don't get in the movies at all. And then after the game kind of progresses a little bit, Alice and Edward start to sense this group of vampires that they knew were somewhere in the area. They're, like, suddenly coming to the baseball game because they can hear it, and they, like, are thinking they want to participate because they're, like, they don't know that Bella's there at that time. Mm-hmm. And then as they're, like, eminently approaching, things get really tense, and all the vampires kind of, like, the whole Cullen family gets around Bella and, like, tries to shield her, basically, as these three vampires are about to emerge, and, like, they're going to start talking, but that doesn't, then the chapter ends. End of overview.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Are you clapping?
I was.
Okay. You never clap for my overviews, but okay.
Trash. Sorry, I was kidding.
I don't think so. I think your overviews are, like, a lot more...
They're really non-detailed.
Yeah, they're focused on the things that matter, and mine are focused on the things that don't matter.
True. That was a good overview. Fuck you, Tyree.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Actually.
So, again, thank you for that overview. But, who would like to go first?
I'm always super happy to, but I feel like someone else can talk.
Well, I made a small note, but it's never anything big. It's just stuff like little pet peeves. Like how when... I'm going to pull this out of my ear. When Edward and Bella, like, pull up and he is talking... It was like he's talking about Jacob and how when Bella said that she's going to confront him, or when Bella said that she was going to, like, go talk to them and handle it, and he said, yeah, that's fine, but be careful because that child, like, still doesn't know.
Right.
And then I was just like, for starters, why are we already belittling Jacob? Because, like, at this point, you don't even know him like that. Well, obviously he's going to be a werewolf, but I don't think that's, like, really known at that point. But, like, they haven't even had, like, a conversation yet, and he's already just, like, that child. And
it's hilarious because while Jacob is a little bit younger than Bella,
it's a year.
It's really not that much time, and Edward is really the predator.
We're being honest.
And, I don't know, I forget what page that's on, but immediately after Edward says the child thing, Bella calls him out on it, and then right after that, he's like, oh yeah, I know you're not that much older than him, and then like starts laughing,
Yeah,
like
no,
jokingly.
it literally says, yeah, Jacob is not that much younger than I am, I reminded him. He looked at me then, his anger abruptly fading. Oh, I know, he assured me with a grin.
See, so maybe I'm like looking for things to
It's
nitpick,
creepy.
but that is really like, oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Oh, I know you're a little baby.
And
Little
I'm
baby
a
boy.
100-year-old man. Like, that's... I don't like that.
Oh.
Wait, how old is Edward again? 117? Is
Yeah.
that right?
But how old was he when he was turned again?
17.
Okay. I have a question about that later in the
Well,
chapter.
maybe
Is it like 117 plus 17?
No, maybe he's 112. Because isn't this taking place in like 2005?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, so he might just be like 100 something.
Yeah.
Well, if you know, please DM us or email us at mytwilightfantasypodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram and DM us there if you have like a more clear breakdown of this. But it's kind of weird. This is a little bit of a tangent, but Carlisle is really, really old.
As dirt.
And then Edward was the first person he turned, and everyone is younger than that, like significantly. Or like,
Go ahead.
yeah. So that's kind of weird to me that they're really not that old.
Yeah,
They're not that wise.
Yeah, I took a note when this is a little bit further ahead, but like Esme is younger than Edward, and I just think that's
Esme.
Renesmee.
It's not
Resume.
pronounced like resume.
Can we just call her Resume instead of Esme?
So what is it? Esme?
No, it's Esme. You're adding an extra syllable. It's not
Esme.
Esme. It's Esme.
Esme.
Yeah.
Lame. Well, Esme was just like, yeah, I only thought it was Edward as a son, even though he's older than me. Ha 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 ha.
Okay, that's the question I had.
Okay.
So, because she says, so it's on page 368, which is closer to the end of the chapter. But, so she's explaining how she feels motherly toward them.
I really liked this moment.
Yeah, I did too. Where is it? He died of
It's while they're walking over to the field. If that
even though
helps.
he's older than I, in one way at least.
Ha ha ha.
Okay,
Because-
I think I just figured it out. So he's older than her in like years being alive plus vampire, but she's technically older than him
In appearance.
In appearance.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she
That's
was
what
turned
I-
at an older age, so maybe I'm choosing to believe that brain development stops also when you're turned into a vampire.
Let's hope.
I think so.
So can you imagine they're both 17 years old, married, and they have that 17-year-old mindset, and going into the relationship 17 years old and married.
And their daughter is going to stop aging at 18.
Yeah, A stops aging older than your parents.
Does she stop aging at 18?
I believe
Yes.
that's what it says.
And then that's when Jacoby's gonna stop. Because he's gonna live with her forever.
Ugh.
Why did they have to be... I mean, I guess... I was just going to say, why do they have to be teenagers? But this is a book about and for teenagers, yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still weirded out that Carlisle's technically looks 23.
That is out of pocket.
Like, what the fuck?
Like, he looks 23, Edward is supposed to look 17. And it's just like, yeah, these are my kids.
Yeah.
All of them.
Ugh, weird.
Yeah, that is super weird. But other moments about this particular piece of conversation, Esme says, "Oh yes, you should hear the arguments they get into. Actually, I hope you don't. You'd think that they were raised by a pack of wolves." I thought that was kind of ironic. I wonder if that was like
Oh.
intentional or like just a saying.
Just, yeah. This is interesting. I didn't really pick up on that. Well, since we're already talking about that conversation, we find out about her more origin story. I don't know if we already said it already, but
No, we haven't talked about
when she was a human, she lost her first and only child a few days after he was born, and she was so heartbroken that she jumped off the cliff.
She yeeted herself off the
And
cliff.
she mentions it so casually, as if like, yeah, that's just what you do.
Yeah, I killed myself.
Oh,
Or
tried.
tried to. And as mentioned in the, like earlier chapters, that's how she was I almost said transitioned. I don't think that's the right word. She was turned into a vampire because Carlisle found her. Or she was brought into a hospital where he was at, right?
I think she was brought into the morgue, but he got to her and was like, oh my god, this person's still alive, I need to save their life.
Yeah.
And the only way he could do that was by turning her. And
But-
then fell in love with her after that.
Yeah. I think this is another opportunity that, like, Stephanie Meyer missed out on, is going further into her backstory. Because, like, there's no mention of the child's father.
Who's the baby daddy?
I mean, maybe he was out of the picture, but, like, she hopped on Carlisle's dick quite quickly, if that's not the case. You know? I don't know.
Hussy.
Huh?
I said hussy.
Yeah, I wish that we got more of that. I'm always happy to see any piece of backstory, because that's like what I'm most excited about, I think, in reading these books, but for some reason that I can't understand, but yeah, I do wish there was just more of this in general, and the conversation like pivots to that randomly and then away from it really fast, so that's kind of a little bit of a disappointment. I feel that too.
Yeah, well, but once again, like, because this was written back in the old long time ago days, and where like suicide and stuff like that really wasn't talked about, so that's probably why Stephanie was just like, over the whole thing.
Yeah.
Even though I wish she would have went more into it as far as all that was concerned. And also, did you notice how after Bella was talking to her, and then she's like, well, Edward said that you fell, and then she's like, oh, it was like, oh, what a gentleman.
Yeah, I made a note of that somewhere as well. Like, how is that
Like,
gentlemanly?
yeah, I'm like, yeah, she didn't know. It was an accident. She's like, no, I yeeted myself.
I don't know, maybe he was just trying to, out of respect, not air out her, like,
Yeah.
you know, maybe she doesn't want people to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird how casual she is about this, I think.
I think it would have been another cool backstory if, like, the baby was actually alive and, like, came back in, like, in some sort of events got turned or something and then came back, like, evil.
Or, yes, that would be a whole other book, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if she was pregnant while she jumped off the cliff? What would happen to the baby if she returned then?
She'd eternally be pregnant.
Maybe.
That would suck.
Or would it be like a Renesmee? Or would the baby turn into like that one baby, like the babies?
The feral vampire babies. Yeah, I don't know. Give us your thoughts at Instagram or mytoiletfantasypodcast@gmail.com.
Or maybe she would just like miscarry.
That's possible too.
Like
Or maybe it would
instantly.
just, the venom would kill the baby. Because doesn't it just, like, destroy your insides?
I don't know.
I think so.
That's how it looks in the movies for sure.
Yeah.
I think that like it like yeets all of your, not your organs, because
Like destroys your blood cells one at a time.
While we're on the venom, some people answered our question
do they really?
from a couple weeks ago, yeah. Let me pull it up real quick.
Y'all are coming in clutch. Y'all are great.
So we posted, let's see, like 10 days ago on our Instagram, and we mentioned it, I think, not last week's episode, but the episode before. We were just a little confused on how the venom works. So, like, does it come out every time vampires bite? Or, like, what's the deal with everything? And we had a couple of replies that were helpful. So, at Edward's Fate said, whenever they're thirsty, the venom starts pouring into their mouth.
Ooh, that sounds horrible.
Yeah. Jaylee94 says, in the books, it says their teeth are coated in the venom, and when they think about or smell blood, it wells in their mouths. So that's kind of along the same lines.
So you could, like, potentially save that up the way that Edward does in the movies, at least.
Yeah.
So is like he not hungry when he sucks the venom out of her, or does he like do like a quick teeth wipe and then?
Yeah.
Well, then the last like reply we have on this is from Maz _A_Raider. And she says, I've read, I think in the illustrated guide, which I bought, that although venom wells up in the vampires' mouths when they think about or smell blood, they can curl their lips to keep it from coming out. And this is how Edward sucks Bella's blood out without putting more venom into her body.
All right.
So I think that pretty much answers it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you so much for answering that question, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys for responding to that.
You just imagine
Because that all makes a lot more sense than the stupid
Yeah.
conclusions we were coming to.
Right.
So wait, that draws another question because it was saying that he was having a hard time stopping. So do they just normally drink it like straight down the throat, or does it go through their fangs?
I don't know if we mentioned this in the first time we were talking about this, but also if you inject venom into an animal, what happens? Are there vampire animals out there?
No, there's
Should we inject my dog right now?
No, Bodhi is our king.
He won't stop.
It's okay. His singing voice is beautiful.
He's just trying to learn Bella's lullaby.
Doesn't sound right to me.
You hear it? Don't you hear it?
Don't you hear it?
Okay.
But back to Esme, I think also in this conversation, Edward said it before when she was visiting their house for the first time, but she says it again, like how happy she is for them to be together, and the fact that Edward found like literally anyone. She's super happy for him and very supportive. She says, always the gentleman. That's why I was so happy that he's found you, dear. He's been the odd man out for far too long. It hurts me to see him alone. And then later she says, you're what he wants. It will work out somehow. So that's really optimistic. And like I kind of, from other characterization in the book, I didn't expect her to react like that. I thought she would be more like, you're jeopardizing the safety of our whole family with this.
What made you think that?
Mostly that time, we've talked about this since then, but my reading of the time where Edward was like, oh yeah, I had to leave Forks when I first met you because you were so tempting to me and I couldn't even go and face Esme.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was because, like, shame or something, because she had said, like, you can't get involved with humans or something like that. But there's no evidence for that. I just read it wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really say either way.
Mm-hmm.
The way I read it was just, it might just break her heart.
Yeah.
Because she feels so motherly over him.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know.
Yeah. I thought that was really, like, a super interesting part of the chapter, but also so is the part where Edward is driving Bella to the woods to, like, go to this baseball game. He, like, gets mad at her for, like, no reason.
You're talking about their super hot moment?
Yeah, their super hot moment. Let me try to find
But,
it.
like, doesn't get mad at her, and then she throws a fit, and then...
Well, that's what I'm confused about, too. Because, like, in this situation, it seems like, reading it through the first time without knowing, he says, damn it, Bella, at one point, and it really, like, it seemed to me like he was mad at her. But they were, like, kissing or something, and he, like, got too excited, and he later says that he's frustrated at himself. Like,
Go
he
ahead,
hates...
say it, Tyree.
Huh?
Go ahead, say it.
See,
I thought you were going to scream nut.
I was.
I know.
I mean, there's no nut, unfortunately. Never a nut.
But did it seem like they were, like, insinuating when Bella was just like, you have to get me back early? And he's like, yeah, I know. And then... were they insinuating Cuddy? Like,
No.
Okay. Because, like, I was sort of shook, especially when he was about to vampire run with her, and he's just, like, finessing her neck with his face.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
Finessing.
oh.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I don't have any issues with that part of it. But on 363, when he says, damn it, Bella, he broke off gasping, you'll be the death of me, I swear you will. That really sounds like he's directing it at her.
So, when I read it, I didn't pick up any anger from it. So then when, like, a page later, she's, like, getting upset at him being mad at her, I was like, when did that happen?
Okay, yeah.
Because I read it just like, damn it, Bella. Like,
Oh,
I read it like a damn Terry.
Yeah,
Tyree.
like-
I hate myself. Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah,
Here's
it's
the
more
punch.
like when we're like, damn it, Tyree. Like, it's
Yeah,
not your
like a
fault,
funny
but it's
thing.
your fault.
Yeah.
But I didn't, does it say he was mad?
It says that he growled
Okay.
on 363 at the bottom.
Was it a sex growl?
There's no such thing as a sex growl. I'm leaving.
Yeah,
There
we're
might
gonna
be for
cancel this.
vampires, you don't know.
No, this podcast is canceled.
I mean, I get the sexual nature of it because right after that it says he threw me across his back as he had before.
Sexual
And I could
nature.
see the extra effort in it for him to be as gentle with whatever. I don't know. And then on the next page, on 364, he says, "Don't forget to close your eyes," he warned severely. Which is, like, I don't know, that could be joking, but it's also like, if someone said, "Damn it, Maya," I'd be like,
Oh.
that's not a turn on for me. Don't yell at me, I will cry.
Oh my god.
Literally, sexual eruption is in my head right now. Oh,
Yeah.
gas.
But I just, like that, anyway, the point of my bringing this up was that there is a moment later where Edward does eventually say, like, "Oh, you thought I was mad at you. I wasn't. I'm mad at myself for not, like, having complete control over this. I'm trying to do my best not to hurt you."
And he,
control
like,
my
says
nuts.
it's never anger towards her.
Right.
Even though it may come off that way.
Yes. But it recontextualizes the whole beginning of the book where
Yeah.
it seemed like he was really mad at her for no reason that she could understand. And we have talked about, like, the weird mood swings, but it's all, like, that, like, self-loathing and, like,
Yeah.
brooding that is more depicted in the movies, maybe.
He cares about her so much, and he knows that him just being in her life is dangerous for her. And allowing himself to get this close to her
Is, like,
is even
selfish.
worse.
Yeah. So that seems like a really important takeaway from this chapter because it, like, really helps to understand events before.
Yeah. Also on that, yeah, I don't know. I liked that moment between them. Like,
Which part?
The whole sexy
nookie.
thing.
No, you have finessing the nose. Yeah.
Finessing the nose. Yeah.
yeah, the finessing, whatever. But she fucking ruins it again.
Can I tell you
So-
what I wrote down?
What?
Before you go, can I tell you
Yeah.
what I wrote down? I quoted SpongeBob, even though you're not going to get it. And then it just says, "I said, I guess you're going to miss the panty raid."
Ew.
Yeah.
I
G2G.
fucking hate that word.
Yeah, no one here likes panties.
Please.
Stop. Stop. Anyway, but yeah, I liked that whole moment, and I took it so differently. So that's why I was really thrown off by all that happened. But she fucking ruins that, like, hot moment again between the two of them. First time she fucking faints. This time it says he breaks away from her and says she leaned over, bracing her hands against her knees for support. Can you imagine just, like, getting all hot and heavy with someone and then they just step away and you're
Tired.
like,
She's tired.
how fucking weird that would be?
Yes. And then it's, like, further ruined later when she starts to, like, stomp off. Like, bitch, calm the fuck down. You are not that cute.
She's always at a loss of breath after they kiss, and I keep thinking, like, Edward's like Kirby, and just, like, sucking the air out of her mouth.
Well, she fucking mentions his breath again, and I am about to throw myself off my roof.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hate her. Why does she have to be like this?
I don't know.
Just, like, pull yourself together for half a second and
Yeah.
don't look like a total weak-ass bitch.
I mentioned a lot of her weak AB in here,
Me
too.
too.
You go ahead.
I'm sorry, this is a small thing. It's actually in the very first page of the chapter. The chapter starts with this sentence: "It was just beginning to drizzle when Edward turned onto my street." So we know that they took the pickup truck because later, I think, now I'm thinking back, and I might have read this wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they took the pickup truck because of the way that they get out of the car. And, like, let me double check this, but I'm pretty sure it says that, like, Billy Black and Jacob Black are, like, standing on the porch, and Edward is, like, hiding himself in Bella's truck, and she makes a note of, like, looking back at him, and he's gone from her car. So the fact that he was driving her car, again, without any discussion of, like, her being sick or like not being able to drive just feels like, oh, so he's just going to always drive from now on. Like that agency has just totally been taken away from her without any question. Like he's always going to drive, really? And just the casual mention of that I thought was a pretty weak AB thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought it was because she didn't know how to get to and from the Collins house.
That's fair, but like, I don't know, even if I'm driving somewhere where I don't super know where I'm going, if we're taking my car, I'm probably going to drive. I know that's been different, like, both of the last 2 times we were in the car together, personally, but, like, if it were me and a guy, like, no, you're not going to drive my car. I'm going to drive my car, yeah.
Anything I can do to make someone else drive, I will do.
Well, it depends on what mood I'm in. Usually I'm the one who drives, but then if there's a dude in the car, but it has to be someone I trust, though. It's not just, like, because there are a couple people who...
Your dick appointment?
I don't have those. I have chastity belt appointments to get my crap tightened.
Where you just meet and pray together?
Yeah.
Oh.
And tighten each other's chastity belts.
Yeah, we tighten the chastity belts. We sometimes touch fingertips. It gets a little wild.
Oh.
But there were 2 things I wanted to notice. Like, no, I'm gonna take these out. I literally cannot talk with these on.
It's hard.
But
Also, stop moving.
oh, my bad. I'll just hit one of these. So we were. As far as like Billy Black and Bella's conversation when Jacob goes outside, when he's just like, yeah, there's something in there I want you to go get. No, I'm gonna. Well, it's not in there. He's like, yeah, just go get it. And I noted that I understand that Bella is being protective of Edward because Billy is sort of butting in where he's not like needed, but at the same time he is your elder and he's just like looking out for you because he does know the past history and you really don't because Edward hasn't explained like jack squat to you, for being honest. But then like how she was just like flat out being rude to him and she's known him since she was a child, and I was just like, what? I'm like, yo, I was like you said, like you and Edward's relationship is very new. You've known him since you were a child. Like, why are you disrespecting this man who has never like done anything to you?
I super agree with that.
Well, I think it's pretty clear in the book just, like, how little respect Bella has for any authority.
Yeah.
And remember, like, compared this, it seems like she's lost respect for the authorities in her life. She is super fake to Charlie. She lies to him sometimes. She doesn't care how what she does or what she says makes him feel. That's clear. But this thing with, like, someone who isn't even blood related to her, I feel like he's like, whoa. Mm-hmm. That is not cute. But remember at the beginning of the book how much of an emphasis there was on, like, Bella's mom?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And taking care of her and having this caretaker role and also, like, making food for Charlie and making sure that, like, he's cared for. It was kind of this, like, parent-child role reversal thing. And that whole, like, sub-story is just fucking gone at this point.
Yeah. Well, I even commented on that because on page 358, after she's telling Charlie about her date with Edward at dinner, and Edward gets there, she gets up to start to do the dishes, and Charlie says, leave the dishes, I can do them tonight, you babied me too much. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I honestly think that Bella, like, puts a lot of the responsibility that lies with her parents on herself.
Yes, absolutely.
And to me, she seems like the kind of person who doesn't have problems, so creates them.
Yeah.
So she has something to bitch about, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't have to cook him dinner every night. He took
He's a
care of
grown
himself for
Her whole
17
life.
years.
Yeah.
He's
When
literally
she
a grown
wasn't
man.
there. Like, and I think that that's where some of her resentment comes from, but it's her own fault.
Yeah.
You did this to you.
And, like, maybe her mom's like that, but, like, she's such an asshole to Charlie. And it's different because she's doing it face to face with Billy, whereas with Charlie, it's usually just in her inner monologue.
Yeah.
But either way, fuck her.
That's really not, like, that's one of my biggest issues with Bella as a character is, like,
Yeah.
why is she like this to her parents?
Well, and just people in general, but, like, the phone call with Jessica.
Yeah, just not even
It's
paying
just
attention.
another example of how inconsiderate she is to her friends. And I know I said this before, but, like, when you're talking with, like, your friends or supposedly, like, best friends, they may start talking about something you don't particularly, like, are too invested in, but you care about that person, and it's obviously something that's important to them enough to bring up. So, like, give a shit.
Yeah.
Or at least feign interest.
Yeah,
Like,
act
and
like
she
you
can't even do that. And she even says, again, like, Jessica, Mike, the dance, school, all seemed strangely irrelevant at the moment. But it's not at the moment. It's all the time.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Everything besides Edward is irrelevant to her. And that's shitty.
Yeah. Can we also mention how, like, all this crap happened? Like, we were talking about it earlier, but how all this happened in the span of, like, 2 days. It's literally only been, like, it's like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The past, like, 8 chapters.
Yeah, it's been just 2 days.
Which is
Yeah.
fine, and I like the level of detail that we're getting into here, but you do get the sense that, like, these characters that were part of Bella's everyday life are just, like, dropped now. Like, we haven't thought about Jessica in a really long time, you know? Mm-hmm. And, like, I forgot Mike's name. I genuinely couldn't remember it. So I think that says something about, like, the writing.
Yeah. And, well, I don't even know about that, too, because I can't remember what movie it's in. Maybe it's in some of the, like, later books when their relationship is more established. But, like, even Edward's like, you should hang out with your friends. Mm. Right?
Mm-hmm. Isn't that New Moon?
Maybe.
Is that when he's breaking up with her?
No.
Oh.
Maybe it's someone else who says that to her.
No, wasn't that her dad saying that
Well,
she
he
needed
says,
separation
like,
from Edward?
Yeah, you need that, but... Because he said it's, like, along the lines of, like, you need to experience all the normal human things.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I don't remember that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's... I'm really interested in that, but I'm also really interested in Bella's wardrobe.
Yep. Let's discuss the most important part of the chapter.
Yes.
Bella's wardrobe.
On 354, two things. Bella says, so she's gotten home at this point, and she's, like, changing from the clothes that she wore to meet Edward's family into clothes to play baseball in. And it's also, like, going to be cold and rainy, basically. And there's going to be a storm. Mm-hmm. So she says, I headed upstairs to change out of my dressy clothes.
Your
which
khaki skirt?
Interesting. Yes.
Again, as I
cute.
went off on 2 weeks ago, her dressy clothes are a floor-length khaki skirt with a dark blue blouse and a half-assed ponytail. That's not dressy.
That sounds
It's fucking ugly.
Yes. And, but then she changes into, she says she's throwing on an old flannel shirt and jeans. An old flannel shirt and
Probably
jeans.
has holes in it.
Yeah, it probably does have holes in it. But, and I'm not, like, I can, it's more easy for me to picture this outfit on Bella. Obviously, because that's what she's wearing in the movies all the time. But I also feel like, maybe it's just because of the movies, but I feel like this is more in line with her personality.
Yeah, This is the first time I've been like, this is Bella. Flannels and jeans. Because it's also, like, a normal teenage girl's outfit. Especially for the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
You know? It makes sense. Lace and all this shit in, like, Seattle doesn't make sense. Or Forks, whatever. You know?
For sure. I feel like this might have been the only outfit that the director of the movie or whatever who's in charge of, like, the wardrobe, if they opened up the book to a random page and they were like, oh, flannel, you say. This is all I will make her wear.
Let's wrap that bitch up in flannel.
I've never worn a flannel shirt.
No
like,
way,
on my
really?
body. No, I've worn it, like, around my waist for, like,
I love flannel shirts.
Huh?
I love them.
I haven't worn a flannel shirt, like, ever.
I have a lot of them that I, like, have collected because they're really good, like, thrift store finds. And, you know, I lived in Chicago for a while, so layering was kind of important at that time. But, yeah,
My
they're
boobs
little...
have gotten too big for them.
Titty, titty, bang, bang, into the room.
You know how, like,
Yeah.
you button it, but, like, this little hole will just be right here. And especially when you sit, it'll spread apart, and it's like, well, fuck me, I guess.
See me
You
at
just
work.
never button them up. Not that that's an issue for me. But, I don't know how to wear them buttoned up. I just feel like... Well,
Would you
they're
wear,
also.
like, a shirt
I think
underneath?
most of the ones that I have are like I got them from like secondhand stores, and they're mostly men's clothes, so they're like boxy and they're
I
not
thought
cute.
about that. Because, like, I'll go up a size or two just so, like, that specific spot fits. but then everything else is super
Yeah, like
baggy.
the shoulders down here and the sleeves
It's
are this
so
long.
bad.
My shoulders are too wide to wear flannels. I've tried. I've gotten like gone sizes up, and it'll be like loose everywhere else, but then in my shoulders it's like joom, and I look like a freaking Wreck-It Ralph.
Kind of going off the wardrobe, or since we're talking about the rain and whatever, especially in this chapter, like, did you guys notice just how unbothered every single person is just doing anything in the rain?
Well, I don't. Yes, some things. Yes, like Jacob went out to the car, but I think that in the previous chapter it was mentioned that the specific spot where they go to play baseball is not going to actually have rain.
Well, not even the baseball. It was like everything else. It's just, yeah, Jacob and his dad waiting in the rain, and then they're getting into the Jeep. They said, and driving. They said it was so hard you could barely see. And
But
it's an
not a big
open
deal.
Jeep.
Yeah. Oh, the fuck? You're right.
That's
Like,
crazy.
and they're just strolling along. And then going into the movie, I feel like they pulled this in too, because remember that scene after, like, they're established they're together, and it's like that montage of them getting to know each other, and they're just sitting under a bush and it's raining, and they're just fully getting wet.
Yeah. Fully.
Remember?
Oh my god.
And they're just like, this is fine.
Okay, I'm just thinking about the car thing. I'll be pissed off if I'm in a car still getting wet.
It says
And it's like this off-roading giant Jeep.
Yeah.
And they're just like getting pelted with rain.
it says it
out of
does have a
pocket.
hard top, though.
I'm
In-
just saying-
Does it?
It on 359 it says I stopped dead on the porch. There behind my truck was a monster Jeep. Its tires were higher than my waist. There were metal guards over the headlights and taillights, and 4 large spotlights attached to the crash bar. The hardtop was shiny red.
Okay.
So
I think
you
I was
could-
just picturing the Jeep from the movie.
yeah,
Because
with the
that's
doors
open.
off. Yeah.
That I just can't
Nut.
even. I can't just like getting the seats all wet.
Yeah.
Sorry. Wrong thing to
I was
worry
just
about.
like imagining this hard ass rain as they're driving. They're just like,
No wonder they're in bad moods.
Edward's just like this.
I'd be mad too.
Yeah.
Edward eyes wide. Bella's just like. Can we also talk
Mouth
about
open, eyes closed.
my mouth open?
She just drowns
Good.
because she can't close her mouth.
Oh god.
Can we also talk about how incompetent she was as far as the getting into the Jeep
seatbelt
and
and
the
stuff?
seatbelts? I'm like, girl, it is not rocket science. Like, she was like, oh, the seat was so high, I was gonna jump. I'm like, if you don't climb on that effing seat. And then, like, she sees the seatbelt. She's like, what's this? And he was just like, a off-road harness. And I'm like, harnesses are not that complex. Just
No.
snap and go. Like, get it together. I'm like, figure something out.
Literally,
Like,
toddlers learn how to snap themselves in
Right.
for free.
right, like, has the bee ever went rock climbing? Like,
No.
figure it out.
Or it's just another seatbelt with a few more clicks.
Right, just
Like,
Yeah.
it's like a car seat. Just
that's what I'm
snap.
saying. It's so easy.
Oh,
Dumbass bitch.
she, oh my god! Like, come on! He doesn't have to do everything for you.
Ella
Everything.
may be one of the worst characters of all time.
Yeah. If there's anything we're not here at My Twilight Fantasy, it's Team Bella.
Like, I'm
We
literally
are-
team everyone else.
Yeah, we're team everyone else, and Bella can just never.
Rot.
I'm not gonna say it, but
I hate that sometimes I feel like I see all the things that I hate about myself I see in Bella.
oh my god, you're not like Bella.
At all.
Okay, thank you for saying that. I just need you to say that like once every episode, okay?
Okay,
Just to make you feel better. I
but
have
you're
a-
still gonna dress up like her for Halloween,
Obviously.
right? Okay, great.
And we're gonna get Paul to be Edward or I'm out.
Okay, I'm gonna be Jacob with my bonnet.
Yeah. You can just wear the purple bonnet and we'll know.
Yeah. Everyone else is like, who the F are you supposed to be?
Just
I'm like,
get like dog ears to put on top of them.
On top of the bonnet, yeah.
I'm Jacob.
You have to start every line with that.
Besides, I am hotter than you.
Oh god.
Oof.
Oh my god, can we do like the big face off between Edward and Jacob, between you and Paul?
And you
As
guys,
Edward
you can
and
finally
Jacob?
fight. Like
He
you've
would,
been talking about.
he would, like, we wouldn't even,
Yeah,
he would literally lose character just to beat me up.
that would be great too.
All right. Like, it's supposed to be like scripted punches, and he's like actually wailing on me.
I feel like you could beat his ass
I definitely
easily.
think you could beat his ass.
But my thing is, I don't think I would fight. I think I would just choke him out. Like, that would be the end.
That's fine too.
He'd probably
Either
like
way.
Yeah, he'd probably welcome it.
Finally.
Oh god.
Hey, what's up, Paul?
Yo, what up? It's your boy. Skinny penis.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just do these at the wrong times. I'm sorry.
Also another big moment from this chapter. Edward actually says he loves her for the first time directly.
Yes.
Instead of just tiptoeing around it.
So that was dope. And it was when she was having her little fit, so.
I just think it's crazy how she's like, I don't think he noticed that this is the first time that he said I love you to me, and I'm just like, no, homeboy is very observant. He knows what he knows what he did. He knows what he said. He knows he didn't say it to you before. Don't get me wrong, he probably figured that you knew since like you guys figured you guys were in a relationship and figured you guys were exclusive without like actually saying it, but like he knew what he was doing. He knew he didn't say it to you.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's weird that I still like am caught up on the whole like the fact that they established that they were going to be boyfriend and girlfriend. They never really did it, and when they did talk about it in those terms, they were like saying, "Oh, we're going to pretend to be boyfriend and girlfriend secretly." Yeah. I just don't fuck with that. And also another thing that is like -1 for Edward is how maybe this is again cute and playful, but on 361, she's like. She says, I bit my lip fighting the panic attack, talking about, like, doing more vampire run shit, because she, like, really doesn't want to do that, but he's like, yeah, you're gonna do it. And, tries to, like, force her into, like, letting him do whatever he wants with her, and, like, vampire running with her on his back again by saying, I'm gonna tamper with your memory. Bitch, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah,
You're gonna kiss me so hard I forget what it felt like to be nauseous? Like, that's...
Not
okay.
doesn't go away.
Yeah, again, I read that differently.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I just don't... It's easy for me to see things I don't like about these characters.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, when you said you read it differently, I read it like, at first I was saying, like, is this another power that he's going to try out on her that's not going to work? Mm-hmm. But then he started getting into the non-chastity belt things, and I was just... and then I was like, oh. So that's why I thought I was like, is he like talking about Cuddy? But then like, you know, his chastity belt's stronger than mine.
Yeah, they're gonna fuck right there in someone else's Jeep in the middle of the woods and it's raining.
I'd be so down for that scene.
I mean, yeah.
Truly.
Chastity belt's burning.
Would that be acceptable then if he did that to make her forget?
Not if she... I mean, the thing for me is not that he, like, playfully tried to kiss her to be like, oh, think about how much fun we're gonna have instead of, like, this one small unpleasant part. It's not that. It's the fact that she says... She's, like, biting her lip, like, trying not to cry about the idea of having to do something again, and he's like, fuck how you feel. I said we're doing it. That mentality I don't fuck with at all.
No, I just... Something completely irrelevant about the whole chastity belt scene and, like, a song going through my head, but we don't have to go into that. I'll tell you guys later.
Okay. Write it down so you don't forget.
Put it in my notes.
Alright, so before we get into the baseball scenes, do you guys have anything else leading up to that in this chapter?
I just have one question. It's
Okay.
kind of in that section of the baseball scene.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think.
God.
Sorry. Okay, so my question is, and it relates to, like, I think the next episode, or not episode, the next chapter too, is Bella, like, super extra delicious smelling to everybody, or is it just Edward?
I think it's just Edward.
Because it sounds like on 373, it sounds like other people are like, oh yeah, she smells really fucking good too.
Alice has said it, I think. And
I
then she's
think-
like, oh, she does smell good. And she was just like,
But they also think, I mean, they're just drawn to human blood, period, so... I don't
I'm
know.
confused. I mean,
Maybe-
we can talk about this later, but I'm confused why she gets targeted.
I think it's, like, I don't know if he says it in the book, but how he's explaining, like, what he read in Jane's mind in the movie. for him, it's not even specifically Bella. It's just the hunt,
Okay.
like the thrill he gets out of going after her because she's like protected by this family of vampires. And so that makes it really exciting for him.
Gotcha.
So I don't think he's necessarily drawn to her scent. It's just the whole thrill of it all,
Gotcha.
which is fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lit.
I just think it's funny that other people are commenting on it. Like on 373, Edward says, "Take your hair down." And then she says, "I obediently slid the rubber band out of my hair and shook it down around me."
Obediently.
And I
Ew.
wrote, the note that I wrote on this is, like a curtain. But Alice says softly, "That won't help. I could smell her across the field." So, I don't know. That was just
Rosalie's line in the movie.
Yeah, and it's Alice says it here like quietly to be like, "Hey, listen, that's really not going to help. We need to think of a better plan." But in the movie, Rosalie says it to be a bitch.
Okay, but in the book, doesn't it say they have like 5 minutes until they get there? Why couldn't he just vampire run away?
Yeah, I don't get that either. He really should have
The
bailed.
only thing they said about that was they were afraid that he'd follow her scent then. But, I mean...
They could distract or like do something
Yeah.
else or...
And at the time that, I mean, we can definitely get into this next chapter, but it sounds like from the movie, at the time that the 3 vampires arrive, they weren't even aware that there was a human there.
Yeah.
So this potentially could have been avoided.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that feels like another instance of Stephanie Meyer like having an idea of what she wants to happen, but not having a way to set it up, and so
Yeah.
setting it up in a way that doesn't really
Makes
make sense.
He
Yeah.
probably could have just introduced like, "Hey, this is my girlfriend Bella. She's human still." And that's like, I feel like they would have been okay with that. But like once like Edward was saying like in the movie, it was like his reaction to him was like what triggered him and what made him want to hunt Bella. But I feel like if they shared, it would have been like, yeah, she's a family friend or like something like that. Like she's like family, like don't touch her.
Yeah.
Like that would have elicited like a better response than I'm gonna effing kill her. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But well, we can definitely pick that way more apart in the next one.
Okay. So I was thinking for like the whole baseball scene in here, I feel like there's not much to talk about in the book
agree.
wise. Because
But
really
movie-wise.
all Bella's doing is describing baseball on a bigger scale.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that's it.
They're just
What's
further apart.
I was just gonna make a note. Does she really not know anything about baseball? Because literally, there's a. When she asked, "Was that a strike?" I'm like, okay,
You
Yeah.
watch baseball with your dad all the time.
yeah. I'm
That
like,
fucking hurt me. I was like, do you really need that to be explained to you? Because I don't give one single fuck about sports, but I knew that, so like, and
Yeah.
everyone knows that from like first grade PE.
Yeah.
So
I literally like noted. I'm like, did you never play like a sport in high school? Like, did they like you not do anything
You
the
don't
entire
even have
time?
to play a sport to know that. It's like a saying.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
strike, you're out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
Was that a strike? And then I'm just like,
am I a dumb bitch?
yes,
Yes.
if you have any defense of Bella in that particular circumstance, please DM us or email us at mytwilightfantasypodcast@gmail.com.
Or any defense for her at all, because honestly, she has zero excuses to be this shitty,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, no, we agree.
we stand not standing Bella.
So, wait, what does that mean? We stan?
Like
Understand,
Isaac always
stand
think,
with.
yeah, Isaac always think like stand with, but then also some people say that it like came from the song "Stand" by Eminem, about how like he was like obsessed with that person, so you're like I stand like for them because you're like obsessed with them. But that's I've heard multiple things for it, but that's one, just a couple, like standing with them and then stand.
I'm sorry not to be distracted, but I was just playing with the pages of my book, and I flipped to the back to her dedication, or her acknowledgments. A huge thank you to my parents, Steve and Candy.
Candy. How about Aunt Candy?
That's her mom's name.
Who?
Stephanie Myers.
Her mom's name is Candy.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we can't all pick our names.
No, I literally have an Aunt
You
Candy.
could pick a nickname. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, I figured since all she was doing was describing shitty baseball, we could talk more about this scene in the movie and how cringy it is.
Please, yes, let's.
Emmett's my favorite part. He's doing his little high kick lunges to his knee. He's like, whew.
Yeah,
And then
Emmett.
like getting himself hyped.
That's super cringy. The outfits are super cringy. That's the Emmett doing that movement is probably the peak for me of cringe. Why is his hat like that?
Why does he wear it sideways? This is 2005. We are at least 5 years past doing that.
Yeah.
Either backwards or forward, my guy, not on the side of your head.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna show up to work tomorrow with my hat fully sideways.
No.
No.
I'll burn your
It's
hat
so-
before you get
How do
there.
you even find a hat that can fit like that?
I don't know.
They are not meant to go in your head that way.
And I'm not saying it was, this hat isn't gender specific, but like, you know, like how they say like, snapbacks are like guys and like the ones that like curve, like the curvy edges are like for girls basically. And like, but he had like a girl cap and it was going sideways and it was.
Well, that's a traditional baseball hat.
Yeah,
The
I'm
ones
just-
with the curves.
Why do they totally don't need to be wearing like the full baseball getup, but they
Yeah.
all are.
They're all
of them.
matching. They're all matching.
In
It's
like
like,
one
we
way or
get
another.
it.
Yeah, like you didn't really need to. I know it's baseball.
Yeah.
Relax. And it could have been funny if that was like a nod to something in the book about them. Like this could have been set up more where they were like, oh, baseball is like the one sport that we can play, and like this is such a huge release for us because we can like be ourselves and like run to the full extent that we possibly can and like compete with each other, and this feels really good. But they don't do that. They're just like, haha, it's the American pastime.
Yeah.
We do it because we need to set up this conflict,
Yeah.
you know?
Like, it would make more sense if they were wearing, like, their favorite teams or something like that.
Or like if it said like Cullen family on the back to
Yeah.
like show that someone for Christmas one year like
Yeah.
had these made or something like that.
Like,
That would
since
be
we play
cool.
baseball so much and like something.
But
like,
I think it might be even weirder
Yeah.
if they just did, like, regular shorts and t-shirts.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe
I
you're
feel like
right.
that would look weird.
They just look like pajamas the way they are. I think
Yeah.
it's very like pajama-esque.
I think Alice is the only one that looked like. I think she looked nice in her uniform. Everyone else sort of looked like a bum.
And
It's just-
Bella's hair in this scene is a disaster. It's like a ponytail with like her bangs down.
Her hair's
like,
a
around her
disaster
face.
until Breaking Dawn Part 2.
True.
Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for spilling any
Facts.
tea.
But, yeah, so this whole scene is just a little
Cringe.
weird. And then that's when Rosalie gets mad at Bella for calling her on a proper,
You're out.
call. And she, like, snubs her. And didn't we it is, Carlisle says to Rosalie, like,
Down kitty.
nice kitty.
Ew.
Oof. Also, there are some moments of cringe in the book. Like on 372, Emmett says, they're talking about bases, and I don't care about the baseball jargon, but his arms are described as like the steel bands of muscle flexed along his massive arms. That's just like, relax. It is
Chill
not that
out.
deep.
Yeah. We get it. He's a big dude.
Yeah, and
Big
also,
chunk.
I mean, none of the relationships are super developed except for like this whole book has been about Edward and Bella, and Carlisle and Esme you can see because you have a little bit of that backstory, but the other two, like Emmett and Rosalie and Alice and Jasper, are just like characters that exist next to each other, and sometimes it even kind of feels like Emmett's interests are in conflict with Rosalie's interests.
Yeah.
So that's
Because
weird.
he's just so... Yeah, that's one thing I did like from the book, where, like, they come in... Also, like, at this point, Bella still has not been formally introduced to Emmett or Rosalie.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't do that here either. It's weird.
As
But,
if Rosalie wouldn't even like look over there and acknowledge their California dream.
I think that the whole reason that there are this many fucking characters in the Cullen family might just be because they needed enough characters for a baseball scene. Is that possible? Is that why?
This is how this is gonna work.
Okay, so on page 367, it's right after, like, Bella realizes why they have to play during a storm. It thunders, and Emmett says, "Eerie, isn't it?" And then it says, Emmett said with an easy familiarity, winking at me. Like, he's very, like, welcoming her into the family. He's nice. He's warm towards her. And Rosalie's just, like, so the opposite.
Yeah, it seems like for most, I mean, I might have just been imagining this, it might not actually say this in the book, but it seems like for most of the scene, Rosalie is physically really far away from Bella for most of it.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how they, like, how her, like, she, like, knew Emmett was the one for her when she, like, found him getting attacked by a bear or whatever.
I don't believe that. I mean, with it, like, if it was like that, then there should be some kind of, like, imprinting for vampires, like, their version of it, to, like, give me some reason how you knew that that particular dying person was the one that you needed to turn. You know?
Right.
Otherwise, it's just like, you turn this person because you're both vampires now, you feel like you're mated for life.
And that's okay. And also, like, once again, we've already said how they low-key, well, high-key don't have anything in common. Like, Emmett's like a jockey, like the nice jock sort of person that you meet at, like, school or whatever. Very welcoming, he's very opening, and she's sort of just, like, prissy, like, stuck up, and, like, to herself, and doesn't really like anybody outside of her own little clique, and even to them, she's sort of like an itch. Like, she's like Regina George. And then, like, Emmett is the one guy that Regina George liked, that the other girl, the redheaded girl, also liked. Lindsay
Aaron
Lohan.
Samuels.
Her name's Aaron Samuels. I thought it was Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, I thought you said the guy.
Oh, no, yeah, the guy, but I was saying Lindsay Lohan is, like, just, like, I don't know. But he's, like, the guy, and then she's, like, Regina George. And, like, they really didn't mix at all.
Catty Heron.
Yeah.
Yankees.
All right. Well, do you guys have anything else to add?
Let me flip my page.
Oh, I had one more thing. Let me see where I thought this. On 337 again, I think. No, 373. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. Maybe it isn't on this page, but at some point, something around here made me, like, there was a moment where Alice and Edward were kind of, like, working together to figure out where these vampires were and how fast they were approaching. And I just felt like they would have made such a more, like, that team makes a lot more sense than Alice and Jasper or Edward and, like, Bella, who her, like, special power is that she's a shield eventually. I just think that Alice and Edward, like, have so much to play off of in each other's characters that I kind of ship it. And I would like to read fan fiction about it if we're gonna get around to that. What do you think?
I'll add it to my library.
I just think of them as brother and sister.
Yeah.
Even though they, like, technically aren't.
But I think they think of themselves that way too.
Yeah.
But, like, since they're... Okay, another thing. Since this is, like, kind of, at least outwardly, a family dynamic, and there are some aspects of it that are genuine, like Carlisle and Esme are, like, the parents of this family. And so everyone else, they're siblings, and they have relationships with each other, like, romantically. So I wonder if how they would feel about that as characters. Like, if they fell in love with each other, would that be, like, ew, gross, she's my sister, or would it be, like, whatever?
Well, I think they structure their story over how it just was. If that makes sense?
Like the existing
couples, like, that's how they came together.
Yeah.
So, like, Rosalie found Emmett, and they were an established couple, and Carlisle picked Esme, and Jasper and Alice came there together. So they were established that way, so then they were like, okay, how can this family be structured so that we're technically all a family, but there's no incest happening?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they made, like, Rosalie and Jasper brother-sister.
Yeah.
And then Edward, Alice, and Emmett
brothers
and sister.
Yeah.
So there's no overlap.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I hear that, but since that's all such a facade, I wonder, like, let's say that Alice and Jasper found each other and they showed up to the Cullen family and they were like, we're joining this now, and then, like, quickly Edward and Alice fell in love. I wonder if that would be, like, accepted, or if that would, I don't know. Not that it's
Probably,
an irrelevant question.
So there is no Alice and Edward fanfic. Like, not
Well,
one.
we might have to write one.
Ugh, no.
I got it, don't worry. I'll put it in my drafts.
Yikes.
Add.
Yeah, I've never
story.
written fan fiction. I don't really know how that works. I can barely write a sentence
I got it.
or an essay, so.
What should it be called?
Oh, God. Stop. That's what it should be called.
Mind fuck.
Oh, I hate that. I hate it so
Stop
much.
in the name of incest. So
Twincest.
Stop.
I'm done.
No, because we were talking. There was this whole Reddit thing that happened. This whole Reddit thing that happened at work about how this guy. Well, this lady, she's like, okay, so I walked in on my husband and the husband's twin brother.
They were
like,
they weren't jerking each other off technically.
yeah, they were just holding each other and like jerking themselves off.
So like they were jerking themselves off, but then with their other hand, they were holding the other person's forearm that was being used to jerk
Why?
themselves off. I don't know. But she said she walked in on that. And the guy's only excuse was that they were goofing around.
Okay. Let's break that down for a second. Because two dudes who are, like, maybe somewhat internally homophobic, but are experiencing, like, homosexual feelings, I feel like that is exactly what they would say in any circumstances. Oh, we were just goofing around. Yeah, we just goof around sometimes. Like,
well, like, Cody and Noelle were talking about it, and they were saying, like, this is the most guy logic thing ever.
Yeah.
How it's just, like, it's not gay, because we're twins, so it's, like, the same, we're jerking off ourselves.
We're just
the
looking at them in the mirror.
that is a whole other level of, like, the fact that you're not only siblings, but, like, siblings that are so close to each other in every way that it is almost like you're one person. I
feel like it happens more than we think.
I'll tell you guys something later.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't end the episode with twincest, so...
We can stop saying it, though.
I'm gonna go take a shower.
Okay. Well, do you guys have anything else to add before
No.
we wrap it up?
Do you?
Nope.
Is this the first time Edward apologizes to Bella?
No.
I mean, sincerely.
No. It's really not.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Something like...
He's apologized for his mood swings before, but I don't think he's gone into as much detail.
That's why I really felt like this was a special moment.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for bringing you into this. Please forgive me.
All right. Well, thank you again for listening, guys. If you want to...
Send us money.
Well,
To get better mics.
yeah, we're sorry again for the shitty mics. We're working on it, but we are broke hoes. So if you want to help us out and get access to additional content, you can visit our Patreon at patreon.com/mytwilightfantasy. Visit our Instagram where we do a lot of our communicating with you guys at mytwilightfantasy. On Insta at Twilight Podcast. On Twitter. You can find us on Tumblr. Or if you just have any thoughts on the episode or other episodes, email us at mytwilightfantasypodcast@gmail.com and we will definitely respond to you.
Yeah, also, it does help us out at least a little bit if you are interested in buying our merch. We have a Threadless page, and that's all linked on our website, which is at the description of our Instagram page. I know that's a little convoluted, but most of our, like, following talks to us through Instagram, so that's, like, our main platform.
Yeah. And also, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, it would be super helpful if you guys could leave us a rating and a review. If you do, we'll give you a shout out on the podcast, but it would really help us out to let us know what we're doing. Good, bad, whatever. But, yeah, I think that's it for this week. So, with that... Peace.
Oh, I think we got another one.
Tyree, you ruined it.
Oh, I'm sorry. We just had another...
Yeah, we should talk
rating.
about it. We should.
Is it a good one?
Yeah, it's a 5-star. It says these 3 really bring Fridays to a whole new level with their hilarious yet informative episodes. I look forward to them every time.
Oh, that's
Who
so
said that?
nice.
Can you read their name?
Maisie Mira?
Thank you so much, Maisie Mira.
Yeah, you're the best. That's super sweet.
We give a 5-star rating to that comment.
So shout out to you.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, I haven't rated this yet.
You haven't rated our own podcast?
I thought I did. Apparently I didn't.
You're fired.
Yeah.
So let's try this again.
Peace.
Love.
And Twilight.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.